because yes, I see myself as being fabulous.
Being a dancer, once a dancer, always a dancer, I didn't stop. So I would go out to the clubs and I would get my boogie on. And I was surprised by how guys would approach me and be like, hey, you're hot. And they wouldn't say, you're still hot. They would say, you're hot.
There is the black and white. There's the bad and there's the good. So as long as you're focusing on the good, then the bad just seems to melt away.
We're only given one life, and you got to be proud of it.
You want to bust a couple of moves? What? Oh.
Perfect. Let's get a cut.
I just like that, anything destigmatizing. So yeah, if you're going to compliment a girl in a wheelchair and tell her she's hot, don't say she's still hot. Say she's just hot. Still hot is a little bit ableist, isn't it? If this is your first Wellness and Disability Equity Alliance meeting, we would love for you to tell us who you are. Just this one-time questionnaire, just, one and done. Then you always come to our meetings and you can just ignore this. This is a screenshot I took when we were in the middle of a progressive relaxation meditation, and I was so evil. So this is just a reminder to turn your camera on, and I will call this meeting of the Wade Alliance to order. And I will introduce myself. My name's Dakota Brown. I identify as disabled. I have a hearing disability. I'm in recovery from my mental illness symptoms, and I'm a cancer survivor with some lingering lymphedema not from the cancer, but from the cancer treatment. And we here at the Wellness and Disability Equity Alliance are trying to even the playing field. We are elevating the voice of people with disabilities and making sure they're connected to services. We all could use a little emotional wellness support once in a while. And also doing some research and asking people who identify as disabled, what can the county do to make our services more approachable, more welcoming, more friendly, and of course, more accessible. We do like to make the meeting accessible. You can get your captions at the bottom of the screen using the 3 dots. You may have to set the language to English. Of course, Zoom being how they are, let's put an extra step in there for everybody to give them more options. The ASL interpreter is pinned. So if you go to, I guess, your pinned view as opposed to the gallery view, you'll be able to see CJ, who is doing our ASL interpreting today. Is there anybody here who would like to take a stab at our land acknowledgement? We just want to volunteer to read it if possible.
I can do it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Riverside University Health System Behavioral Health acknowledges the traditional, ancestral, and contemporary homelands of the indigenous people of Southern California, whose land it occupies. The Cahuilla, Cupeño, Luiseño, Serrano, Chemehuevi peoples and their ancestors have been here since time immemorial, caring for the land with great integrity. The first peoples honor the earth, animal and plant beings, the water, and all peoples that lived here. We acknowledge this reciprocal relationship and intend to continue and extend the values of caring and emotional wellness to all Indigenous peoples, Native Americans, and residents of Riverside County. RUHS Behavioral Health creates relationship, builds on trust and accountability with its community members. With this land acknowledgement, Riverside University Health System Behavioral Health commits to be respectful to and mindful of tribal sovereignty, culture, and beliefs of the Indigenous people of this land.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thanks to everybody who's been putting their name and organization into the chat. It sure helps us with our record keeping. So, hi, Marissa. She just jumped in there too. Thank you so much, everybody. We do have our Native American liaison, Dr. Sean Milanovich, and the Native American Wellness Advisory Committee, or NAWAB or NAWAC, I'm not sure, but this is their new logo that you can see on the upper right-hand screen. And they meet the second Monday of the month. Generally, it's the Monday following this meeting, but since we're on the early in May, it's not going to be until the 14th at 10 a.m. All are invited. Sean's email is going to go in the chat in a second. You can email Sean and he will get an invite to you, or email me and I'll make sure that you get an invitation. All are welcome. And if you're not Native American, show up anyway, because that means you are doing your allyship. And I show up in a lot of meetings that I'm not of that population, but I want to be there as an ally and to learn. Thank you, Misty, for putting that in. Oh, I've got a poll. Who is here today? Do you represent an organization or are you a stakeholder? A stakeholder is anybody who lives, works, or worships in Riverside County. And so we've got, are you a stakeholder? If you're an organization, check off which kind you are. And if you put other, maybe I'll ask for an explanation, because I do want to make sure to get everybody included on this. Diamond Perry just checked in. Diamond, have you had your Starbucks coffee yet? Diamond
I
wants to-
have. I did.
I'm glad. I like people who take advantage of their gift cards early, because you never know when those things are going to expire.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. That was the carrot question. All right. If you are a stakeholder, which part of the county do you leave? We tend to divide the Riverside County into 3 areas. And your relationship to disability. We learned a lot last month about people and how they relate to disability, whether they are a person who identifies as disabled, or if they service disability, or if they have friends, family members, or if they're caregivers. And then, how was your lunch? And if you had a great lunch or a terrible lunch, I want to hear more about it. So you can put that into the chat. I'm just a nosy nose when it comes to what people are eating. One of my famous lines. Oh, what are you eating there? We have a lot of food stuff today because we have our eating disorder program sharing what they're up to. I think I've killed enough time, so I'm going to give the chat maybe another 10 seconds for folks to fill it out, but we're getting good participation here. And I want to say a special hello to my friend Ben Howdigi, who's joining us from IEHP. Ben, thank you for the honor of joining us today. And Kelly Guillory from San Bernardino, Department of Rehabilitation, but also San Bernardino Department of Behavioral Health. Oh, Chili Rayano. Lewis, that sounds awesome. On a hot day, there's nothing like getting your face all flared up with spicy food. And Lewis, would you introduce yourself?
I am completely disabled, a T4 paraplegic. I've been paralyzed since 1997.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I know I've seen your name in some places. Okay, I'm going to end the poll. And it looks like Lewis is the only one who has so far offered what they had for lunch. Let's share the results together. Let's look. We have a lot of people, or 81% from organizations. We have a couple of stakeholders here. Thank you, guys. Oh, and some people who are stakeholders and organizations. Many county people. We've got some other government, which probably is our friends in San Bernardino County. A couple nonprofits, community-based organizations, a lot of county partners, because we do partner with so many groups. We have some great synergy going. Training or educational, and businesses and other. And let's see, identify as disabled, 4th of hey, that exactly mirrors the general population. About 25% of Americans identify as disabled, and we've got 25% disabled. I can't tell you how good that makes me feel, because so many times to these meetings, it's hard to get the actual populations we're serving to attend. So I love that. And some not disabled, and some caregivers of people with disabilities. Oh, wow. Some people had good lunches, 60%. Heck yeah, the best lunch ever. I'm sorry to you, 15% didn't have a very good lunch. And if you need to eat, feel free. I don't mind if you eat on camera. I don't think anybody minds, but if you're self-conscious, you can temporarily turn your camera off. But you are always welcome to meet whatever needs you need to at this meeting. Okay, I'm going to stop the share. We want to make sure that this meeting is safe for you. We want to make sure that what you have to say is heard here with acceptance and a non-critical ear. So you have a lot to teach me, and I want you to feel safe to tell me whatever you need to. Take space, make space. Yeah, we have respect for diverse opinions and beliefs. We talked about taking care of your needs. And if you are not getting accommodated, please reach out to me so we can, disability comes in so many different shapes and sizes that we want to make sure and figure out what people need and brainstorm it. We're pretty scrappy about that, trying to come up with ways to keep you involved. The meeting is recorded, and I myself edit the recording and we post it online. So if at any point during this meeting something happens that you are uncomfortable with it being shared, let me know and I will edit it out. Once again, safety is so important. If we get Zoom bombed, we will probably end the meeting and then email you. If we're far enough in the meeting, maybe we'll just call it a day. But if it's still early in the meeting, we may want to rejoin. And we don't have AI here taking notes because this is an interactive safe space and we want people to interact in the moment and not, from their transcription computer software. We just don't like AI, okay? Actually, I've been enjoying AI in certain cases. These agreements are flexible. We can make adjustments to it as you want, and we're going to do an approval of the minutes from last month, April 4th. If your name is on here, oh, I see Lewis right there. And if it's spelled wrong or if you were here and you're not on there, let me know. I've got to get my note taker out here. I guess I'll be taking notes on the back of this little receipt. Never there when you want it. Okay, if your organization is not correct, please let me know. This person, Kelsey Fang, was nice enough to come, but I don't know where they work. So if anybody knows who Kelsey Fang is, and
Sorry, that's me. I'm with Reach Out.
oh, you're right here. I'm so sorry. Okay,
It's okay.
thank you. Oh, and what is your position there, Kelsey?
I'm an outreach specialist.
Okay. You look familiar. Did we meet in the hallway at a recent event? I think you look so
I
familiar to me.
I know you were here for one of our DEI meetings, so maybe
Yes,
that.
that might be it. Thank you so much, Kelsey,
No
for speaking up.
problem.
I'm going to add that and good. Let me jump to the actual minutes and we can scroll down those. Yeah. Are there any changes to the minutes or to the attendance on the minutes?
Dakota Jabrin's name needs to be corrected on the minutes.
Did we do that again?
To Gebren.
Oh, I don't take credit for that. I had it right. Okay. All we need to do is flip-flop the R and the B then, right?
Yes, and Heather
Okay.
Parker put in the chat that they're not listed on the minutes. So Heather
Oh,
Parker.
Heather Parker. And Heather, can you tell me where you're from? That would help me with your which group you're with or your stakeholder?
Mindful Body and Recovery.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Thank you.
I had to on the fly figure out what MBR was real quick. Heather, a new acronym for us.
I figured that out earlier in the week. Yeah. Okay.
Alyssa Nieto also is not in the minutes.
How did we miss Alyssa? Okay. Alyssa, I saw you come in and I just wanted to have a second to say hi to you. Thank you. You're just always so kind to spend your time with us. I think Alyssa's been with us longer than anybody.
Oh,
We
that's
have
so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see her at everything. We were set up right next to UCPEIE, which is the United Cerebral Palsy Inland Empire. My apologies to CJ for saying that so fast. Do your best. At the autism event. So we got to hang out last weekend. So we're just not a meditation, but I just want us to sort of check in with ourselves. Notice how your body's sitting. And I just think this is a good time for us to set our intention for what we want to accomplish today. For me, I'm going to remind myself I'm here to serve and that this is y'all's meeting. So you're going to be guiding the rest of us through it. And have you been breathing? Because I have not. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose or mouth or both. How are your feet touching the ground? How's your body on the chair? How's your spine? Are you feeling nice and straight? Do you need to roll your shoulders a little bit? Just really want to be here. and just move on to our agency spotlight. Our eating disorder program has gone through many iterations. Innovation project, the intensive outpatient program, or IOP. Please welcome our agency spotlight speaker today, Staff Development Officer for the Mindful Body and Recovery Program, MBR, Dr. Jabrin Blakely.
All right, thank you. I'm going to talk a little bit about eating disorders as well as the new IOP that's starting on Monday. We are so excited for it. Let's see if I can share my screen and we can get started. If there's questions, let me know. I'll put my contact information in the chat. And we do have a flyer already posted on the shared drive for Wade. So I'll share that too, just in case. I just got my Spanish brochures approved. So hopefully I'll get those printed soon as well. Okay, so the Mindful Body Recovery Program, there are different aspects to the program. In addition to it being an intensive outpatient program for eating disorders, it is also a training hub. We provide community education as well as outreach in the community regarding eating disorders in general. So I'm going to talk a little bit about eating disorders, and then we'll get more specifically into the intensive outpatient program for adolescents. So hopefully, it's good information for you. So let's just start with a statistic. As of today, 10,200 deaths each year are the direct result of an eating disorder. That's one death every 52 minutes. So we can see that this is a really big part of the mortality rates regarding eating disorders. And so it's a really big thing right now that's happening in our communities, and we want to be able to shed some light and ways to provide treatment and resources for our communities. So what are eating disorders? Eating disorders are serious mental health conditions where people have unhealthy eating habits or an extreme focus on body image and weight. There's several that are the most common types. One being anorexia nervosa, which is a severe restriction of food intake and a fear of gaining weight. Then there's also bulimia nervosa, which is binge eating, followed by behaviors to prevent weight gain. And this might include purging, such as vomiting or excessive exercise, other use of items to assist in purging. And then there is binge eating disorder, which is not associated necessarily with weight loss, but it's more specific to eating large amounts of food in a short amount of time, and it has to do with a lack of control. And then we have avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, ARFID. This involves avoiding or limiting food so much that it seriously affects a person's weight, nutrition, or daily life. And then there's some others out there that you may hear about, other specified feeding or eating disorders. Those might include purging disorder, night eating syndrome, and a few others, not as common and not really part of several various diagnoses within the DSM manual. Then there's feeding and eating disorders, and then there is orthorexia. Orthorexia isn't like a confirmed diagnosis just yet, but it is characterized by an obsession with eating foods that are considered healthy. So someone might only eat organic foods or foods that, they consider only health foods and things like that. So that's kind of a new and up and coming. There's some others dealing with meals and exercising, dealing with women who are pregnant, as well as dealing with people who are diabetic. So there's a couple of others that are slowly coming up in popularity as well. For this particular presentation, I did want to highlight specifically ARFID and autism. I've done a few resource fairs recently that relate to individuals with special needs, especially with children with autism. And I've gotten a lot of questions regarding ARFID, which is the avoidant restricted food intake disorder. So we're seeing a higher prevalence of ARFID amongst autistic individuals compared to the general population. And a lot of this is due to sensory sensitivities. Many autistic individuals might have a heightened sensitivity to textures, smells, or tastes. Sometimes those are triggers for food aversion. Maybe they won't eat a specific food because of the texture. They don't like mashed potatoes because it's too creamy or it's too lumpy, or they don't want their foods mixed together. There could could be issues with routine and rigidity. This could be maybe they have a routine and they only want a certain brand or certain type of food. Maybe they don't like the generic Lucky Charms that their parent makes for them. They don't want the store brand. They want the specific one that, has the picture of, the character on the box. So that could be something dealing with their routine as well. Interoception difficulties. They may have challenges sensing what's actually happening within their body. Maybe they're not necessarily aware of the hunger or the fullness. And so that limited awareness can impact the ability to eat. And of course, in addition to co-occurring anxiety, they might have anxiety or a fear of choking or vomiting if they're eating specific foods. So that might also cause food avoidance behaviors. There are some ways to provide support to individuals in this area, and specifically referring to Inland Regional Center, offering occupational therapy, or really sitting down and teaching that individual regarding the accepts of different food textures. Why do eating disorders happen? A lot of it can be psychological. This might have to do with body images issues. This may be because they're feeling unhappy. Maybe they just want to be perfect and they want the need to control what's coming in and out of the body. Low self-esteem, you're feeling bad about yourself and using food to cope with emotions. Then there's also social and cultural pressures. This could be relating to the media and society. You're looking at social media right now as a big influence on what our kids are out there seeing, promoting unrealistic body standards, peer pressure, comparing themselves to, the magazine ads. I mean, I have 4 daughters, they're all teenagers, and there's a lot of pressures in the middle schools and the high schools, even the college level, where they're seeing people around them and concerned about their image. And then one thing about eating disorders is that anyone can be affected. It's not any specific gender or race or ability or age. There's all types of people in all various cultures, spiritual beliefs, identity that are affected by eating disorders. Yes, it may be common in teens and young adults, but anyone at any age can have an eating disorder. Here's a few statistics that might kind of just bring some reality to this challenge that we're facing. About 9% of the United States population, which is almost 30 million Americans, will have some type of eating disorder in their lifetime. Anorexia has the highest death rate and the second highest overall death rate of any mental illness. When we're looking at cultural perspectives, Black and Latino teens face higher rates of bulimia and binge eating. And this is also occurring because of issues with cardiac, suicide risks, even though they may not necessarily be underweight. BIPOC individuals have similar eating disorder rates as their white peers, but they're not as likely as to be diagnosed just because there's a lot of inequities within healthcare, racial disparities, things that impact the care and the diagnosis within the medical field, the healthcare industry. Asian American students are reporting more restriction and purging just because of various types of pressure from their families to be academically successful, to do well, and to, have that type of cognitive restraint. And then LGBTQ plus youth are 3 times likely to have an eating disorder. Homosexual boys or bisexual girls are 2.5 times, and boys 6 times more than their straight peers. So there's all these different types of challenges that we're facing, and we just want to be mindful as we start working on our upcoming program. There's different types of levels of care. I won't go too much into these, but I do want to just point out there's a hierarchy. Inpatient is the most severe. There's residential, partial hospitalization. Our program is an intensive outpatient program. It's a lower level of care. It means that the person does not require hospitalization or 24/7 monitoring, but it is something where that person needs to go in and get at least 9 hours of group or individual therapy throughout the week. And this is usually done within 3-hour sessions between 3 to 6 days per week. And then, of course, there's outpatient where they may be going and seeing a clinician for individual therapy services. So our program is the Mindful Body and Recovery Program. And the purpose of our program is to focus on public awareness, reduce stigma, provide early intervention, and provide education and resources about eating disorders within underserved communities. This is the first program within a county in the state of California. This is a state-funded program. It's an innovation program, which you probably have heard about on the MISA to BISA presentations. But this is a brand new program that we will be rolling out starting on Monday, May 5th. So in addition to our program, we're also focusing on outreach, community engagement. So you may see me out there at various resource fairs, providing presentations, and really just trying to get the word out about the program. The program itself will target teenagers ages 12 to 18 from underserved populations. And we're looking to provide some type of access to this care treatment before the conditions become more severe and before they need inpatient treatment. We do have a cultural approach. So the idea is that we're looking to implement culturally centered care into our program, offering cultural awareness to our staff and to our treatment, as well as our educating within various cultural communities as well. And this is just to make sure that we're addressing various cultural needs. We're taking consideration meal planning, body image discussions, as well as treatment methods, looking at food and culture, and just different things that, there may not be out there regarding programs such as this. From the program itself, we are located at the RUHS Behavioral Health Paris Valley Community Health Clinic. And we will have the youth ages 12 to 18 come on site. There is some transportation provided depending on the distance. However, if they live a little bit further, they can also utilize IHP or Molina if that's the insurance that they have to utilize their transportation. The program itself, as I mentioned, is a minimum of 12 weeks of treatment. 3 days per week. So they would come on site 3 days, and it's going to be in the afternoon between 2 and 5. There's usually going to be clinical support. We have our clinical therapist. I believe one is here on the call with me, Heather, parent and family support, parent management training, behavioral health specialists will be doing life skills classes. We have our registered nurse who will do medical checkups. Nutritionists will do nutrition and meal planning, as well as the rest of our diverse team of 12 who will be working towards this program. Individuals who would like more information and to determine their eligibility will need to be Medi-Cal eligible, and they will contact the CARES line in order to get referred and go through the process and letting them know if they are eligible for the program. If they don't meet the criteria, we do have other resources that we can share to refer you out to other facilities that may better fit the person's needs. This is the eligibility and referral process. So again, I talked about what an IOP is and what that consists of, as well as the eligibility. And specifically, they must have one or more of the following: be struggling with an eating disorder. Their body weight must be above 80% of healthy weight. No need for intensive medical monitoring. They have to be medical stable. They have to have the motivation for the treatment and recovery. They have to want to do it and have an adequate caregiver at home. Because these are teenagers, it's family-based. We incorporate the family into everything that we do. We're utilizing family-based therapy, cognitive-based therapy, as well as dialectical-based therapy. So all of those are going to be helping include the family and as well as looking at the emotions and why that is affecting their eating disorder. The referral process, if it's someone who just wants to call and get information, they will call the CARES line, but they do have to tell them specifically that I have an eating disorder and I want to be referred to an eating disorders program. It's very important that they do that. If they just call the CARES line, they're only going to ask them specific questions. And so CARES can only ask those specific questions. So please make sure that they inform the representative that they have an eating disorders. They can also contact us directly. Our office has a phone number, and I'll share that a little bit later, or I know it's at the end of the screen, but we'll do an initial screening here and our team will start that process. And anyone who's internal with RUHS and wants to do an internal referral, they can also submit an integrated care form, and then that will be referred as well. So there is a process in order to get started in the program, but we do want to make sure that there are some resources and people have an idea of how to, refer their teenager to this program. So one more time about community education and training. We pretty much we are available for presentations and workshops. We do a lot of community events and resource fairs. We can also offer various training for the teams if you don't necessarily know how to recognize the signs or symptoms, or just giving a more in-depth training on eating disorders. I gave a really brief one today, but we have a whole hour-and-a-half presentation that my colleagues and I have done recently that can help with clinicians, staff as well. Okay, we do have a focus on cultural sensitivity that I mentioned earlier. We actually have collaborated with our community cultural liaisons. I know Dakota is one of those, as well as some of our other cultural groups, and really looked at what type of research is out there regarding cultural differences. And there isn't a lot of research out there that kind of specifies the need of having a culturally centered care within underserved communities. So that's something that we're really taking a look at specifically to eating disorders, because, there's so many inequities, and we can have that in a whole nother meeting on that, regarding healthcare and diagnosis and things like that. So here are some resources outside of our program. So a lot of these are national associations, they're hotlines, different opportunities for a person to contact in the case that they need more and they need more information and more support. And I know that Dakota will probably share those, hopefully, with everyone. And then for my contact information, it is here. And if you want to take a look at our website or email me for specific questions or contact our main office line, our clinic, to get more information. And then we also have at the very end of the presentation, I believe, our QR code. So that's going to take you to the website. So I probably ran through that very quickly, and I appreciate the time. Please let me know if there are any questions. I'm going to unshare and then so I can see everyone. There we go.
I'm curious about, before we do questions, this hour and a half presentation that you do. So can other organizations have you come in and do that?
Yes, we actually did a presentation last week at a counseling center in Lake Elsinore. So it was all mostly clinical therapists. So we talked more specifically about the various types of eating disorders, medical complications, symptoms, signs, as well as additional ways to help support. So yeah, that's kind of an option that we have as part of our training and community education piece to the program.
Thank you, Dr. Gibran. Questions on our eating disorder program? And we children 13 to 18, is that the group we're looking at?
12 to 18 is our current focus right now. We do provide resources to everyone, but specifically the IOP will be for teenagers from 12 to 18.
Yeah. So anybody who comes across in their practice somebody of that age who might fit that description, just send them to you or send them to the CARES line. But they need to be sure and say they are. I don't know if they can say they have a diagnosis of ED. They may not, but they can say they're struggling with eating disorders.
They have to say specifically eating disorders, whether they're struggling, whether they have a diagnosis, anything related. They do have to say that in order for them to be referred, because It's very specific because they're under 18. They have certain guidelines they have to follow through the state.
Oh, they can't
Yeah.
be asked that.
Yeah, they cannot, the CARES line will not
Okay.
ask them. I know there was a question about that at the last meeting. And if someone contacts the CARES line, they can't ask them if they have an eating disorders. The person has to volunteer the information.
Thank you for that distinction. I just want this group to know how unusual and revolutionary it is to talk to disabled people at the beginning of a project instead of, oh, we put this thing together. We didn't think about getting input from people with disabilities. So, I mean, that's generally the motives, the way that works. So, this having the cultural input at the beginning is quite unusual and a really nice precedent to set.
We are excited for that aspect. A lot of the people that we've talked to are appreciative of the cultural aspect. So just including various populations and, it's something different than what I've seen with other programs.
Dr. Gibran, I thank you so much for staying within your time. I know you had to rush through that, but we don't like to impose on
No worries.
people's
Yeah, I
times when
know
we
I had a
can't.
few things going on my end too. So
Oh,
I
okay.
appreciate everyone's patience. And I do want to point out Heather, I think she's the only one from my team on right now. She's one of our clinical therapists. So she will be starting with the very first client on Monday. So we're excited to get started on that program. If anyone wants to contact me, I can see my information's in the chat. Feel free to reach out if you like more information or to come in and do a presentation to your organization or anything like that. Feel free to reach out. We'll figure it out and make it work.
And even if Monday comes and goes for this next period of time, you will continue to be accepting new people.
Yes, it's on a rolling basis. So the person will come in, be evaluated and assessed. They also have to be, there's some various medical tests, psychiatrists, they also have to be medical cleared through their physician. So there's a whole process that they'll get every week. We'll start a new person or new group of people, depending on the need in our communities.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate your time. Thank you all.
All right. And Jabren's also somebody who comes to our meetings quite a bit, which is awesome. Last month we did talk about the MHSA, and I wanted to let you know that it is posted online. It just went up yesterday. You go to ruhealth.org and hover over RUHS, click on MHSA, and then just scroll down. And you will click on that, and then you'll be able to hear it and see it. And it's in ASL.
Welcome. Riverside University Health System Behavioral Health.
Scroll through.
Events were attended by 500 youth and advisors.
Best ways to bring technology-based mental health district. The TOPS team received training by.
Yeah, that's good. I just wanted to show you what that looks like. That for 30 days will be up, and it's a way for you to know what we're trying to accomplish with behavioral health and our goals, and then how you can comment on what is working and what's not working. So we have this feedback form, and we've made it available so many ways. Once a year, we get with the general public and we say, this is your chance to talk to us about what services are missing, what services we need, and which services are working. So you can mail it in, you can email it in, you can fax it, you can call and leave a voicemail. You can email me and I'll make sure you get a copy of this form. Here are the 3 questions. Which behavioral health programs are you aware of and would like to keep? Which would you like to see us change? And what other thoughts or comments do you have? And one of the things that I'm thinking about is especially young men who get radicalized by YouTube, they going down the rabbit holes on YouTube, and we need to address that. Young men right now are really needing support. It's leading to such polarization that we can't even have conversations with people. So I'm also going to be, saying we need more pet assisted therapy, more equine therapy. We love all those modalities. So any questions about this, you just email me. So yesterday we had our first one in the desert, that Palm Desert. And here's a little snippet.
Lunch is served. If you wish to line up to get your hot dog and other goodies, please start doing so. The food tent is just exactly across.
I bet you didn't know you're getting free lunch, right? And then we free coffee and stuff. And the MHSA hearing is happening at the Mays Mental Health month events. So the event is a big, like kind of arts and craft fair, resource fair. And then in addition, you can go inside in the air conditioning and have your lunch and learn about the Mental Health Services Act. So one down and another one to go next Thursday. That one's in Mid-County at Valley-Wide Rec Park in San Jacinto. And then the following Thursday, these are the first 3 Thursdays in May. This is the Fairmount Park one in Riverside. And we really want people to go. Also, recently, I got to attend the disability rally that happened in Palm Desert about 3 weeks ago. And I have a little video to play. It's about a minute long, I think.
Is filled with disabled people and elders and caregivers and immigrants and working class families. And we're loaded with nursing homes. And we are Medicaid recipients. So if you vote to cut Medicaid, you're not just betraying a program, you're betraying us, your people.
Because it's always different from each kid. When you're talking about autism, they're not all alike. You can't put them all into the same classification. They all have their special conditions.
You know that Republicans can do good things for our country. I am not here to say we don't want you in office. I am here to say, listen to us. Look at us as human beings. This is going to cost the Coachella Valley a lot of money. These little hospitals who are out here in rural areas, they are going to close down if these Medicaid cuts come through. So there's a lot riding on the line.
Yeah, so Disability Voices United were the people that sort of put this rally together. It was not a protest. And unfinished business. Misty, we did have a question. The Fairmount Park event, all the events, do they start right at 11:30?
Yes, all of the events start at 11:30 and end at 4:30.
And at 11:30 to 4:30. Yeah. So as far as the hearing goes, that's from 11:30 to 1, I think, or 1:30. And then that's the forum part. And we talk about it being like a science fair, right? It's people will have the projects out and you can watch the videotape that we talked about earlier. And then the second part of it is the actual hearing where people go up to the microphone and say, this is what I want to see. This is what I want changed. This is what I want to see more of. All right, unfinished business. Oh, yes, we did our multicultural symposium. Mr. Hemmett Beat is here. Hi, Joseph. Joseph performed. We had a great time. This was about 3 weeks ago. And my favorite thing, I think, was Joseph had his amazing golden shoes on. And we had a lot of people. So we had cultural food. We had keynote speakers talking about spirituality and culture. And we had performances. We did the Human Library, and I think that was everybody's favorite. It was a huge hit. The Human Library is just where people are books, and you can check out a book, and a person can talk to you about something, sometimes a very highly stigmatized experience that the person's gone through. Will, I don't think he'll mind in sharing that he is a legally blind amputee, and he took off his prosthesis and showed people what it looked like to get that thing on every morning. We had our Muslim group. We had a drag performer sharing about with some of his props. And it was just such a great learning experience for everybody, not just the people who read the books, but the people who were books and shared. They were surprised at what people were interested in. And everybody agreed the books need to be longer. They didn't have enough time. And then we had our performances. We had the Tinikling dancers from Filipino, and we had our rap performer, and then we had the drummers. Yeah, the taiko drums. This was just a what do you call it when somebody's behind? When somebody I can't think of the word.
When a photobomb.
Thank you. Photobomb. And all our library, well, we have a lot of gifts we got to give away. So we're looking forward to doing this again soon. Last weekend was the Autism Walk. This organization sponsored it for $2,500. And we have some goofy pictures. All right. That's Will, who I mentioned before. Yeah, a lot of characters were there, a lot of Star Wars folks. And they stayed in character. About half of them could sign ASL because they know there are often kids who have autism. Sometimes if they're nonverbal, they will learn sign. And they were very interactive. They just
Dragpool. He's cool. He's almost as cool as you.
yeah. Just goofy stuff. And then we had our picture with all the people. There's Tana, who's the co-chair of this group, and I. Alyssa's here. We snapped a picture of her with SpongeBob. And since I'm on the topic of autism, I did want to tell you about this pediatric autism study they're doing in Redlands. And it's a clinical trial, and specifically they're looking for 13 to 17-year-old kids who are autistic who are experiencing irritability, which can express as tantrums, aggression, yelling, or self-harming behavior. So if you're interested in entering your child into a clinical trial, the information's going into the chat, or you can use that phone number. Once again, anytime you have a question about what happens at the meeting, you can always reach out to me. This was a live stream that I recorded earlier this week that you can see on YouTube, and Nancy will put that in the chat. It was on ableism, and I was really honored to be asked by the Inland Coalition on Aging to share about ableism for disability. And then here's an event coming up May 14th. So we're looking at, it's a week from next Monday. Yeah, adverse childhood experiences. You may have heard about that. And it's a free training that the county putting on. Might even be oh, you know what? It's Public Health is putting this on. Webinar, and it's free. And then CCRD is the overseeing group for all of the liaisons like us. Cultural competence, reducing disparities. You're always welcome. There's often cultural learning in these meetings, and they're on Zoom. And the next one is a week from Wednesday. And everybody's welcome. I will get you. Oh, look at that. Not only is it going into the chat, but you've got a QR code there and a bit.ly, and I can send those out later. Okay, trivia. We are there. Since we had Dr. Jabren here with eating disorder, I thought, oh no, I just gave away the answer. Well, here we go. I have a $20 Starbucks gift card for you. Get your into the chat ready, or get your microphone off and you can say it out loud. It is a question. There's 4 different clues to get you the answer. What's the name of this condition? The name comes from the Old Norse word skopor, which means crust or scab. It causes hair loss, spongy gums, and makes your teeth fall out. It's caused by a vitamin C deficiency. But we're getting close to an answer. In the 18th century, the British Navy used limes to prevent it, which is why sailors were nicknamed limeys. Anybody? Bueller? Maricela got it! Nice job! Yes, my old friend Scurvy. Yeah, I'm sorry about the scab stuff. I hope nobody's eating right now. But you don't see too much of it anymore now that we know citrus fruit is full of vitamin C. But occasionally, people who have real restrictive eating might end up with a slight case of scurvy. Congratulations, Maricela. Would you put your email either into the chat? You can just do it to me if you don't want everybody else to know it. Thank you so much for playing. Inland Caregiver Resource Center is our partner, and they have this all day. Well, it's a 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. conference coming up, and we can put oh, Suzette, thank you so much for coming in. I know everybody's hopping on. Oh, the 2 o'clock meetings. This meeting goes till 2:15, so it should be a good day. I'm just learning more about this. It is in Colton, but Inland Caregiver Resource Center does serve both counties, and I've used their services when I was taking care of my own mom. for support. And then they have Pearls and Thrive, which are contracted programs to help mature adults with depression. I saw Guide Dogs of the Desert's graduation is coming up 2 weeks from Saturday. I don't know why I mentioned this now, other than they don't send out invitations. It's a matter of just showing up at noon on May 17th. And IEHP has some awesome classes coming right here to where I live in Desert Hot Springs. If you're interested in those, once again, going into the chat. Thank you, Maricela. I got your email so I can send you your Starbucks. And these are great classes: living well in the community, healthy reactions, healthy heart. I just got this from Renee Griffith, who's with Building Bridges for Special Needs in the Coachella Valley. The calendar is up and running on the website, and I posted it on our shared drive. So if you've got a special needs kid, actually child of any age, you may want to check out some of those events, and we can ask about the next meeting. Do you want to meet in person next month on Friday, June 6th, or would you like to meet on Zoom like we are today? This is a two-part question. In person or online? And then if in person, which area of the county would you like to meet? So I'll give you a few minutes to look that up. We have most of our meetings are on Zoom because we understand it's a large county. And sometimes those of us with disabilities do have some more transportation challenges than the non-disabled. Our Christmas meeting we had in person, we had a blast. So maybe once a year or twice a year this summer, we will talk about an in-person meeting. But I'm going to end the poll. Sorry if you were a slowpoke. Share results. And we are going to be meeting on Zoom, just like we are today. Okay, that makes it easier for everyone. And now I would like to open it up for the roundtable. Who has events that they would like to share about? Upcoming events, or just you want to share about your organization?
I'll come off. So on Tuesday, May 20th at 2 p.m. during the CAGSI subcommittee, we will be having the Trans Family Support Services come in. They are going to be doing a presentation on creating an inclusive environment for our trans and non-binary students and young adults. So if you're interested in that, I will make sure that Dakota gets the flyer. There's a QR code to register. It is virtual. So we would love to have you there.
This is at the CAGSI meeting, you said?
So we'll be at the CAGSI meeting on Tuesday, May 20th, 2 p.m.
Yeah, and CAGSI is our counterpart to what we do for disability, they do for LGBTQ+. The shared drive, it's a Google Drive where you can eliminate the middleman or middle woman and put your flyers up on this shared drive. As long as you have a Gmail account, you can get in there doing that, and then you can download any flyers that were shared at this meeting. So that drive is going to go into the chat, the Google Drive address. And then I wanted to mention, if you do want to receive an invitation every month to this meeting and you didn't receive one today, shoot me an email. And then if you also didn't get a chance to do a new member link if at the beginning of the meeting, if you came in late, that is up on the screen too. All right, our roundtable is still open.
I'm going to jump in with one more. On Saturday, June 7th, over at the Cody location in Riverside, Center on Deafness Inland Empire, they will be hosting the 4th annual Deaf Wellness Resource Fair. That is open to the public. It is free, lunch is included, and they are still looking for exhibitors. So if you're interested in having a space and taking resources into that community, we would love to have you there. And you can go ahead and contact myself, and I'll get you the registration link, and we'll get you all set up.
I'm keeping Misty really busy here in the chat. Thank you. I was hesitant at first to join deaf events because my ASL was not very good, and it's still not very good. But I also didn't want to intrude on people who've been struggling so much harder than me. But what I've learned is the deaf community is very inclusive. They love having newcomers. They love people trying out, their sloppy ASL, which is what I have. They're just very generous. So don't ever hesitate to show up at a deaf event. CODI stands for Center on Deafness Inland Empire. I know Misty said that earlier, but they have a good time. And the reason they want you to sign up for this register so they have enough food because they're feeding everybody. Thank you, Misty. Anybody else before we call it?
I'll jump in and introduce myself real quick. I'm really happy to be here, really happy to have met Dakota. I am half of an elderly LGBTQ couple with an adult daughter with disabilities who's with us. I'm a former audiologist, used to work with the deaf community, and I always said I was fluent in sign on the kindergarten level. And after my audiology career, I was a mental health case manager and then morphed into community organizing around at-risk youth and families, which involved, the whole range of everything. And we've just moved here from Virginia, sort of fleeing a state government that is in sync with the federal government in terms of LGBTQ rights and also disability rights and services. So we're really happy to be here. And I'm really happy for the opportunity to connect with the local community and just kind of so impressed with all the services and all the groups and just the overall kindness and respect that we've seen so far here. Thank you for letting me be part of this meeting.
You and Sylvia belong here with us. I think you found your forever home. We're just so glad to have you in California. California needs you.
Hey, we're happy to be in California. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'll jump in.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Marissa Brazel. I am one of the Health Equity Program Liaisons from IEHP. I also coordinate the Inland Empire Disabilities Collaborative meeting, so I see some familiar faces. So I just want to introduce myself as this is my first meeting, and also share that we have an upcoming meeting. It is also May 20th, same as Misty's meeting, but we also have in June, we're going to have a conference here at the IEHP headquarters in Rancho, where we will be having, it's all free to those who attend. It's going to be focusing on like intersectionality of accessibility, disability, and it doesn't matter how you look or who you love, it affects everybody. So we'll be having workshops led by Jan Garrett from Pacific ADA. We'll be having Mary Lambert perform and provide her beautiful art. So she is a singer. If you've heard Macklemore's Same Love, that is her song. So she'll be performing and having a discussion about her identity and her invisible disabilities. And then we'll be having Calvette join talking about supports for veterans with disabilities. So if you're interested, I can provide our little information for our website in the chat right now, once you're here in the chat. But I'd love to have you all. There are limited seating. So we're hoping we fill up as much as we can. But yeah, registration is open and it's going to be a great day. So just wanted to share that information with everybody.
And tell me again, June what?
June 17th. It's a Tuesday.
Okay.
That's the same Tuesday we would have a IEDC meeting.
Yes. So IEDC is the Inland Empire Disability Collaborative. That is open, obviously, to collaborative groups. Do stakeholders attend that also? Just people in the community?
We have had stakeholders attend that are, sometimes volunteer with different organizations, so they're welcome to join as well.
Yeah, and that's a great meeting too. There's often, sometimes there's famous people there who do presentations, and disability rights people who are well known, and there's often disability trainings. I know I taught one there, and it's a great meeting, and you get a pretty nice breakfast too. I'm there for the eggs and the sausage. Thank you so much, Marissa. And you guys normally meet once a month, like maybe the third Tuesday or something?
Correct. Just the third Tuesday. Yes.
Thursday. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Just want to make sure everybody has their last chance to speak up. Okay. With that, I will adjourn the meeting, and a special thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you attending our Wellness and Disability Equity Alliance meeting, and have a super duper weekend. Woohoo!